important for you to sign to Interscope, to a major?
Was it important?
Yeah, opposed to independent, because you were making a lot of money independent.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to split it. You didn't have to bust it down with nobody. So what made you do the major label thing?
I mean, it was just time for it. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm that caliber of artist too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I come with so much. I bring so much to the table. Like, you know, at some point, you got to get that machine behind you, because at the end of the day, you know, it's too much money up there with the big dogs. It's too many politics. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're doing. You got to play the game. And not only that, like, the partnership we got with Interscope, the joint venture deal, it's beautiful. And I love the fact that we took our time with it. You get what I'm saying? And got it out the mud, because it's different. I know it's different. I'm sitting here looking at it because I've been studying the game. I've been studying all these rappers that popped, you know what I mean? Like, while I was on the way, while we was, you know, working our journey, I've been studying everybody. Like, I see the people who popped out of nowhere and what happened later on down the line. I see the people who got it out the mud all the way, you get what I'm saying, and had to take the long route like us. But like the way I stepped into the door, it's beautiful. I wouldn't do it no other way. You get what I'm saying? Interscope, they go crazy for us. You know what I mean? Like, they green lighted me off the rip. Like, let's get it. Like, we love what he do. You know what I mean?
I heard a
Yo, what's good, people? Sean here, rapper turned author / entrepreneur. Check me out for entertainment and industry advice. Welcome to Cole's Corner.
Right here we have DaBaby speaking on why he signed to a record label. Now, I think this is important for a lot of people who are interested in music as a career. What you've got to understand is, with record labels, there are people called gatekeepers. And if you listen to what DaBaby said, he actually said there's a lot of politics up there. And what he means by that is, there are gatekeepers in the music industry who can block you or allow you to get to certain levels. This is why you'll probably hear a lot of independent artists say, there's only so far you can get being independent. There's like a ceiling, right? The reason why they say that is because the gatekeepers, who are usually with the record labels, are the people who can then allow them to elevate past the ceiling. So, for example, shows that are like TV stations like MTV, for example, some of these places, they won't accept you unless you're signed to a record label, or unless you know person X, Mr. X. And this is what they need. So they might be doing very well independent and making a lot of money, but to get to the point where they want to make more money, they need to be able to get on TV shows like MTV. Might even be that they want to get on radio, but the radio stations are not accepting they're not accepting submissions from artists who are independent. You need to be signed. And so this is where the gatekeepers come in, and this is where the politics come in. And this is why I won't ever knock artists who do want to be signed to a record label. I know a lot of people do say these days you don't need to be signed to a record label, and that is 100% true. I'm not here to tell anybody that they need to sign to a record label, because they don't. However, I do understand why some people do sign to record labels. I'm not here to now just say, hey, record labels don't do anything. They do. However, they're not here for your best interests. And this is where it can get a bit muddy and a bit dark with the record industry, with the music industry, sorry, because what can happen is, let's say you're an independent artist, right? And you're doing really well, you're doing really successful, yeah? You're selling a lot, touring, merch, all that's going well, right? This record label comes to you now and says, hey, we want to sign you to our label. Let's just say you get 3 record labels who all come to you and say, hey, we want to sign you. And you say, hey, I'm doing well independent, I'm good, I'm happy with where I'm at, I don't want to sign to a record label, thanks but no thanks, yeah? What can then happen is the record labels get salty, because the way they look at it is, hey, this guy's making a load of money and we're not being able to get a cut of their money that they're making. They're looking at it as, yo, you're hot property and you're making all this money independent. And it's like, we want a piece of that pie. And so what happens is then the gatekeepers, as I was speaking about before, they will then say to these like radio stations or these TV stations, they'll say, hey, you see that artist over there, don't play them. If they come to you and say, you know, can you play my record or whatever, they'll say, don't do it. And that is to block you. So then as an independent artist, you'll start to understand that there's only so far you can go, hence the glass ceiling, because you're now being blocked off and being limited to where you can kind of progress. And you'll realize you'll have got to a point where yes, you are still successful, but the level that you want to get to, you're unable to reach because these gatekeepers have now put blocks in the road for you that you can't get past. And this is why a lot of people, after being independent for so long, what they do is they then sign because it's like, it's the only way I'm gonna get to the next level. You see what I mean? Russ has spoke on this as well, because if you read between the lines, you'll understand this a lot clearly. Like if you go back and listen to what I've listen back to DaBaby's interview after what I've just said, you'll understand this a lot more clearly. So please do that. But this is my advice to independent artists. If you do want to get signed to a record label, don't work to just get signed. Do the independent route and build up your fan base first. That way, if you do go to a record label or a record label comes to you, you have what they call leverage. And this is what you'd really want if you're ever going to go into a record deal. If you're going to go into a record deal, you want leverage, because leverage is what's going to help you from getting a fairer deal, right? So if you go to a record label and you say, hey, look, I'm an underground artist, I've got no fans or anything like that, but I'm just a really good rapper, I'm a really good singer, I'm a really good whatever, and I just want to get signed, so please just listen to my music. I've got no fans or anything, but listen to this and take a chance on me. First of all, that's not realistically going to happen in this day and age, because record labels want to know that you've already got a fan base before they'll even really consider you, because it's too much of a risk of their investment of money and time. So that, first of all, isn't going to work. But let's just say you've got a small fan base. What they'll do then, if you've got a small fan base, is they might say, okay, you know what? We'll take a risk on you and we'll give you a record deal. Your record deal's not going to be good. It's not going to be in your favor. It's not going to be appealing. And the reason is because you are not in a good position to sell records right now. You haven't got a lot of fans. You're not doing a lot. You're not very successful right now. So the way the record label look at it is at the moment, you are a risk. There's no guarantees you're going to do well. They are taking a risk. Record labels in this day and age, they don't want to take risks anymore because it's a lot more of a loss because of the digital age. Music doesn't make the same kind of money as what it used to make because of streaming. People don't buy albums no more, so it's more of a risk now. So this is what you've got to understand. They like to go with people who've already built up their fan base. Do you see what I mean? And because of that, they will then take the chances on the people who've got more of an audience, because they know there's more chance of them selling. And this is what I mean when I say, if you get in too early, it's going to be a problem for you, because they're going to give you a really bad deal where if you buy, let's just say by chance you do get a record deal and you manage to put out an album and it does really well, but you was the artist who didn't have a lot of fans. Okay, so you've surprised them and you've managed to make a successful album and it's done really well and you've been really successful. Because of your record contract, you're not going to do that well off of it, because the contract's going to have been put in the record label's favour, because the way they look at it is, we're taking all the risk here. We didn't know if this was going to take off or not, so we're taking the risk here, so we want all of the reward. You'll get very little reward because you wasn't very big in the first place. You see what I mean? On the other hand, if you're an independent artist who's been grafting for years and you've built up your audience, you can go and tour by yourself. You don't need a record label, and you know you can sell X amount of thousands of records by yourself whenever you drop a project. The record label can say, oh, well, this is a lot less risk because they already have an audience. So yes, if I give this person a record deal, we can't really just give them what we would give to a normal artist. They may try, but if you know your business, you'll say to them, well, as an artist who can prove to you I can sell this much music, I want this, this and this in my contract. And as long as it's not outrageous, then they'll accept that, because it's like, okay, he's proven himself, so we know we're gonna make a certain amount of profit anyway. And that's what leverage is. It's building yourself up so you have enough favor of yourself of what you can prove to say, I want this in my deal and I want that in my deal, or I want a better deal than what you would just give you know, some lower tier artist who hasn't proven themselves yet. Leverage is you building up your own fan base and proving yourself to show and prove that you can actually move records and sell records. So my advice to you guys is this, as I said earlier, if you do want to get signed to a record label, I wouldn't be the person to say to stop you. Do I think that record labels move in favor of the artist? Absolutely not. However, for some people, if they want that certain level of fame and they want that certain level of success, it's likely that they're going to have to sign a record deal. You saw what they just said about DaBaby. He was doing very well independent, but he still signed a major deal in the end. So this is the kind of obstacles that can occur even for the bigger artists. So build up your leverage. That's what I would say to you guys. Build up your leverage and take it from there.
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Really hope you enjoyed it and found something informative in this. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and feel free to share with other people. And don't forget, you can catch me on the socials as you can see above. Peace.